"I can read minds," Judge mocked her. Then she spoke his late wife's final words. "I can read minds," the little girl said. The courtroom laughed. Even the judge smirked until she looked straight at him and whispered his late wife's final words. The room went silent. You won't believe what happened next. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more powerful true-style stories. Everyone in the courtroom was confused when a little 20-year-old black girl walked in all by herself. She wore simple clothes, faded jeans, a worn jacket, and her hair was tied back in a neat puff. No one recognized her. She had no lawyer, no parent, and no paperwork. People whispered, wondering who had let her in. But she didn't look lost or scared. Instead, she walked straight down the center aisle and stopped in front of the judge's bench. "I'm here to speak," she said clearly. Her voice was soft but powerful. The judge raised his eyebrows, surprised. "Speak," he repeated, trying not to laugh. The lawyers looked at each other, amused. Then she said something no one expected. "I can read minds." The room burst into light laughter. Some people smiled. Even the judge chuckled. "You can read minds?" he said, smiling. The girl didn't laugh. Her eyes stayed locked on him. "Yes," she said calmly, "and I came here to tell the truth." The judge leaned back in his high chair, still smiling like it was a joke. "So you read minds, huh?" he said with a smirk, glancing around as the courtroom snickered. "Then, tell me what I'm thinking right now." His voice had a playful, almost mocking tone. The girl didn't blink. She looked straight at him and said, "You're thinking this is nonsense, and that I remind you of someone you lost." The room quieted just a bit. The judge's smile faded slightly, but he quickly shook it off. "That's a lucky guess," he said, louder now. Anyone could say that. But the girl took a step closer. Her eyes didn't waver. "You used to love it when she sang in the kitchen while baking. Her name was Mary. She called you her stubborn lion." The judge's face changed instantly. He didn't smile anymore. His mouth fell slightly open, and he gripped the edge of his chair. "How do you know that?" he asked, but the girl said nothing else. The room had fallen completely silent, that no one moved. The room felt like it had stopped breathing. The judge stared at the girl, shocked and confused. "What did you say?" he whispered, leaning forward. His voice had changed. It wasn't firm. Anymore, it was shaken, like something had cracked inside him. The girl's voice stayed calm. "She used to sit in that front row," she said, pointing gently. "You always looked at her before making a final judgment. She brought you peace." The judge's hands began to tremble. His face had gone pale. "No one knows that," he muttered. The girl nodded slowly and stepped even closer. "She whispered something to you the night she passed," she said softly. "You've never told anyone what it was, not your children, not your friends. You kept it locked away." The courtroom watched in awe. Then she looked him in the eyes and repeated the words, "Let love guide your gavel." The judge gasped. His body leaned back, like the words had hit his chest. Someone in the back let out a faint cry. No one could explain what was happening. The courtroom was frozen. Every eye was on the judge. His lips trembled. His eyes were wide. "That's impossible," he whispered, almost to himself. Only she knew those words. "I've never told a soul." The lawyers, the bailiff, and even the court clerk looked around in disbelief. The girl stood still, her face soft, almost kind. "She told me to remind you," she said quietly. "Your heart became hard after she left, but she still believes in you." The judge's eyes filled with tears. His strong hands, which had once slammed the gavel with pride and confidence, were now shaking as he lowered them to his lap. "How do you know this?" he asked again, voice broken. But the girl didn't answer. She just turned around slowly. Nobody stopped her, not the bailiff, not the guard at the door, not even the judge. The room was silent. As she walked past the rows of shocked faces, someone in the back whispered, "She's not just a little girl, is she?" A quiet chill ran through the courtroom, and not a single person could speak. After that day, something changed in the courtroom and in the judge himself. He returned to work the next week, but he was no longer the same man. The courtroom, once ruled by strict rules and cold decisions, now felt warmer. The judge began listening more closely. especially to children and the poor. He gave second chances, asked deeper questions, and even paused before slamming his gavel like he was waiting for something only he could hear. On his bench, he placed a small wooden plaque. It didn't have his name or his title. It simply read, "Let love guide." Your gavel. The lawyers noticed it. The media reported it. But when asked about it, the judge just smiled softly and said, "It's a reminder." No one ever saw the little girl again. She left no name, no address, no trace. But some believed she was an angel. Others said she was gifted. But the judge, he believed she was a message from someone he loved and lost. And every time he looked at the front row, his eyes searched just in case she ever came back.